People open their eyes, and suddenly hear other people's thoughts so clearly, as if someone were standing right next to them, whispering in their ear. This loud, transparent silence of the mind overwhelms them instantly, without warning. The flood of strangers' thoughts hits them like a powerful wave, shattering the boundaries of personal space that previously seemed inviolable. Even the calmest people begin to glance around nervously. Their thoughts, previously hidden deep within, become a transparent echo, accessible to everyone around them. Hidden doubts, random fragments of phrases, forgotten emotions, all surface, as if the inner world has lost its doors and walls. Every emotion becomes noticeable, fear vibrates subtly, anger, sharply and loudly, surprise, a bright ringing. People instinctively cover their ears, forgetting that the noise is coming not from outside, but from within. Crowds of people start to run, as if trying to escape not from danger, but from themselves. Panic spreads like fire, engulfing the streets in seconds. Everyone not only sees fear around them, but also feels it within. Another person's emotion passes through their consciousness like an electric shock. Phones, text messages, social media, everything instantly loses its meaning. Nothing can be hidden with words or silence. Every intention, every emotion becomes accessible to others without a filter. People understand, the old way of communication is literally disappearing before their eyes. Couples hear each other completely. Everything that was once hidden, the unspoken, the resentments, the doubts, emerges at once. The feeling of nakedness is more frightening than any words. It becomes clear again, love was often based not on frankness, but on silence. Friends discover irritation that has been building for years. Friendships that seem strong suddenly crack when internal comments become audible. People understand, sometimes silence saved relationships. Politicians take the stage, but their real thoughts are audible to everyone. Their smiles lose their meaning, people hear fear, uncertainty, empty promises. Crowds instantly understand how long and deeply they have been deceived. Religious temples become zones of emotional storm. Believers hear the doubts of priests, and priests hear the secret sins of parishioners. Barriers disappear, and faith becomes not private, but naked. Children adapt faster than anyone. For them, telepathy is a game, a new ability they master intuitively. They learn to filter thoughts like unnecessary noise, and for the first time, they become teachers of adults. Some people unexpectedly discover the ability to completely block their thoughts. They become the only ones who can hide their intentions, and therefore the most unpredictable and dangerous. The noise of millions of thoughts becomes impossible to perceive. People flee to villages, mountains, deserts, to places where the flow of reason weakens. Cities empty, turning into huge boxes filled with the echo of other people's emotions. Theft disappears, every criminal thought is heard in advance by others. But new criminals are emerging, those who have learned to distort thoughts, to create false images in the minds of others. Psychology is becoming a leading science. Scientists are exploring the nature of thought, emotions, and collective consciousness. For the first time, people understand the complexity and power of the human mind. The thoughts of artists, musicians, and poets become directly accessible. People seem to sense creativity in its primal, unprocessed state, not the works themselves, but the emotions and ideas themselves in their purest form. Romance is forever changed. Now people feel each other without words, sincerely, openly, nakedly. For some, this is liberation; for others, it is the destruction of the illusions that held their relationships together. Murderers and terrorists can no longer hide their intentions; their plans are audible in advance. But emotions become contagious. A single panicked individual can ignite a crowd, forcing it to react as a single organism. Children begin to learn mental defense as early as 6 years old. Meditation, concentration, the ability to build internal walls, such skills are now more important than math and writing. Special capsules, thoughtless rooms, are created. Inside them, a rare silence reigns, where the only sound is one's own breathing. These places become more valuable than cars and apartments. Mental groups are formed, entire armies that can suppress the consciousness of others. Thoughts are transformed into weapons, images, emotions, and concepts are used as attacks. The first complete system of mental communication is created. Now pain, love, joy, and any feelings are transmitted directly, without perceptual errors. Hiding from the world is impossible. Even if a person hides in the farthest room of their house, turns off the lights, closes the windows, and tries to catch the last of the silence, it does not come. Alone, he still hears not only his own thoughts, but also the quiet, muffled echoes of those who live next door, those who pass by, those who simply exist nearby. The urban consciousness has become a single, pulsating mechanism that never sleeps and never falls silent. It whispers, grumbles, worries, discusses, experiences, and every person has become part of this nervous system, whether they want to or not. Gradually, people begin to miss the vanished word, privacy. It sounds almost like a memory from a distant past, like the forgotten scent of childhood or a feeling that can never be regained. Paradoxically, a world where everyone has become closer to one another has suddenly made solitude the most precious resource. Boundaries have become invisible, but no less real. Consciousness, once closed and incomprehensible, has now become a space into which the law can peer. And this changes everything. Humanity retains its individuality, but the sense of separateness fades. People seem connected by the finest threads of perception, barely noticeable, yet strong. Sometimes they stretch softly and unobtrusively, like a gentle sense of a nearby presence. Other times, these threads are taut, like vibrating strings, driven by powerful emotions coursing through the mental space. Should one person experience a sharp fear, a gentle, trembling surge rolls through those connected to them. Should someone feel happiness, a distant but warm wave glides through the shared field of perception. Emotions no longer belong to one person, they have become like the wind, invisible, yet felt by everyone beneath it. This new sense of collective sensitivity is both inspiring and terrifying. Everyone is connected to others more deeply than they ever imagined. Gradually, words begin to lose their significance. They become secondary, a tool of the past, when meaning had to be packaged in sounds and hoped to be understood correctly. Now understanding comes instantly, complete, precise, without distortion or omission. People communicate not with phrases, but with intentions, images, and emotional nuances. Everything that previously required explanation is now perceived instantly, as if a thought were born in two heads simultaneously. This is the ideal communication that humanity has dreamed of for centuries, transparent, devoid of conflict, free from lies. But with it comes a strange feeling of vulnerability. When everyone knows everything, where is the line between the individual and the collective? And if everyone can read your sincerity, what remains yours and yours alone? But the more perfect the connection between people becomes, the more pronounced the internal rift becomes. The world oscillates between two poles, development or freedom, transparency or privacy. A unified network of consciousnesses brings people closer, but simultaneously erases the fragile distance where dreams, doubts, decisions, and individuality were once born. For the first time, people are faced with a dilemma that cannot be reduced to black and white. This is not an argument, not a scientific discussion, not a philosophical experiment, it is a feeling that lives within each of us. Doubts are the last thing that remains only within. They are not loud, not bright, not threatening. They are quiet, like footsteps in a night corridor, soft, like a shadow cast by a candle, fragile, like a breath. These are personal inner hesitation, small secrets that are not shared with others and do not affect the general flow of thoughts. They live deep, in that space that never reaches the collective network, in a small refuge where a person still belongs to themselves. And perhaps it is precisely this tiny core of autonomy, this barely perceptible territory of silence, that makes humanity still itself. Because no matter how much consciousness expands, no matter how much thoughts intertwine, something within remains inviolable.